I hate hats. Is a bandana okay?
Well, I guess it's better than nothing.
The year was 2015, and tensions were high after the formal separation of Hideo Kojima's longtime partnership with Konami. Many speculate that part of the reason was because of Konami's change in CEO, or because Kojima wanted and was planning to go fully independent with his foxy team at Kojima Productions. This was also the same year as the retail release of the next installment of the Metal Gear Solid franchise, The Phantom Pain, starring Kiefer Sutherland. In some people's eyes, this was a groundbreaking release despite the problems that plagued the second half of the game. No pun intended. For those that might not know, The Phantom Pain was heavily criticized for having cut content and an unfinished second half, with a lackluster finale which made the twist feel less impactful than it was intended to be.
They played us like a damn fiddle!
In my experience with the African jungle portion of the game, it felt just completely lackluster, underwhelming, and, quite frankly, unfinished. Afghanistan was cool though. Wait. The story elements felt phoned in and ambiguous. It's kind of seemed like the development during this portion of the game was where Konami and Kojima's tensions were at like an all-time high, which is kind of a shame because at its core the game is solid.
You're pretty good.
No pun intended. And the first half is excellent. After the split of Kojima and Konami, Kojima Productions went on to make Death Stranding starring Norman Reedus, and is now soon to release the sequel, Death Stranding 2, starring Norman Reedus. Since Kojima's departure, the last entry in the Metal Gear series was released solely by Konami Digital Productions, and was the 2018 disaster Metal Gear Survive. Metal Gear Survive was such a successful failure that it flat out ruined an already tarnished and fractured reputation for Konami. This brings us to today. As most of the Metal Gear fans know by now, the remake/reboot of Metal Gear Solid 3, known as Metal Gear Solid Delta, is being developed by Konami alongside Shanghai-based Virtuous Games. The reveal for this next installment was at first quite unexpected, though it could have been predicted based on the announcement of the Silent Hill 2 remake. And also, a few years prior, like around 2020, 2021, there were heavy rumors going around that they were going to reboot the first Metal Gear Solid and remake the first Metal Gear Solid. I want to say Blooper Team was... Blooper, there was a team that was like heavily rumored to be remaking the first one. Many did believe and hypothesize that they would remake the original, which made this reveal that much more surprising. After the reveal trailer, Konami released demo footage of the gameplay and an early build, and this is where it raises some questions on what exactly we're going to get from this game and what we're going to get in the near future. The gameplay looks as you would expect, Metal Gear Solid 5 set in Metal Gear Solid 3. Essentially what we are getting is a 20-year-old game on a 9-year-old engine for modern-day consoles at full price. Konami, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, you fool me once, you can't get fooled again. Now, the developers are probably working on their own engine, and graphically it will probably be 4K optimized. Gameplay-wise, I don't see how they are going to improve over the mechanics presented in Metal Gear Solid 5. Regardless of what your thoughts or opinions are on The Phantom Pain, the gameplay is superb. It's flawless. The fluidity in the controls are super replayable in that aspect. It's hard to top some of the wacky situations you can put yourself in. Overall, this seems to be only the beginning for this reboot. Considering the success of titles such as the Tomb Raider reboots and more recently the Resident Evil remakes, it only makes sense as a business decision to reboot the entire series. Even if that means reusing assets from former titles, there are a lot of paying fans that would be happy to pay full price for a nice update to each of the mainline titles.
What?
It's one of the most recognizable IPs in the gaming world. Konami knows that they're sitting on a gold mine, and I believe this is truly their first effort to win back fans and rebuild their once highly regarded reputation. My closing thoughts on what we've seen in the gameplay teasers. I think the game is going to be solid, it's going to be metal, and there's going to be a gear in some form or fashion. Will it be as intricate and in-depth with codec calls and all the little things that we saw in the original Metal Gear series? hopefully, that might be the saving grace for the game. If it has all those little things that the Metal Gear Solid series is kind of known for all the sort of wacky codec calls and little Easter eggs. The gator head is going to be in the game. I already know that the gator hat is going to be in the game. But all the little things of like calling the codec at certain times and getting like film history from Medic.
Hey Snake, you ever heard of Godzilla King of Monsters?
No, what is it?
It's a movie. You haven't seen it?
Nope.
It's about this monster called Godzilla, who grows to an enormous size in a nuclear test and goes on a rampage in Tokyo.
Nuclear test, huh? Then the Marshall Islands must be crawling with giant monsters right about now.
It's just make-believe.
Maybe that's why my pants have been so tight lately.
And different things like that. If they pull that off, then honestly, I don't see why the remakes in the future, whether they remake 3 and then they go throughout the timeline where they do 3 and then Peace Walker and then 1 and then 2 and then 4 and then 5. I don't see why it wouldn't be a good game. If they accomplish all the little things that was in the original game, I think it'll be a good game. I'm not a betting person. I don't gamble, but hopefully it's good. Whatever.
Yeah, you're right.
I am right.
Snake, have you heard this one? Evil is human nature, and his entire being falseness. The concept of so-called original sin. The idea that you're born bad, so you can't help doing bad things.
Hold on. I thought the idea of original sin was that you had to work even harder at being good because you were born evil.
Oh, yeah, that too. Very good, Snake.
Ugh.